I'm pleased that it's been called off. I think it's a victory for common sense. The protesters were claiming that it was a protest about gentrification, but I failed to see how attacking a small museum is actually going to deal with the issues of gentrification.
Why do you think this story has garnered such a huge attention worldwide?
I think it's because it's such an illogical thing to do. You know, they attacked the serial killer cafe last week, and on so many levels that was wrong. I think, they claim to be a protest group that cares about the local people, and yet they had the staff in there, women and children, barricaded inside while they were throwing paint and firebombs at them. And I think it's just outraged people around the world. And again, I think, they've turned their attention to us because I think they'd get a lot of publicity, which they did.
Having said that, do you have any sympathy for the claims the protesters have been making around gentrification of this area, houses being unaffordable for local people?
Well, I think all Londoners, myself included, are deeply concerned about the housing crisis in London, the lack of affordable housing, and the fact that there's whole areas of London that seem to be bought by investors, and they have just flats sitting there empty when people are homeless. Of course, we're all concerned about that, but attacking small businesses is not the answer to that. Having a debate and a dialogue with government and getting them to change their housing policies is the way you deal with a housing crisis, not smashing the windows and throwing paint on small businesses.
What impact, if any, has the ongoing protest had on your business and the future of it?
Well, I've been very adamant that we have here a great museum. I think it tells the story of Jack the Ripper from the perspective of the women for the first time ever, which is really compelling and powerful. So, I know we're doing the right thing and we're going to stay open. Our visitor numbers have been pretty consistent since we opened. And I think, most people don't want to give in to bullies. They don't want somebody to tell them what they can and can't do. And I'd say to everyone, come down and see the museum and see what all the fuss is about, and you'll see that we have got a great museum here. Jack the Ripper was a killer, and you can't airbrush history. And these are souvenirs. We have a wide range of souvenirs, from books about the suffragettes and serious academic books on the lives of the women and about Jack the Ripper himself, right through to the more sort of populist stuff like our mugs and things that have that blood smear on them. And if anybody watches television today, they will see much more gory and salacious things than a mug with a little bit of red smeared on it. So I really don't understand what the fuss is about on that front.
Finally, your PR rep was quoted as saying on Twitter that the Jack the Ripper's victims were never sexually abused. What do you make of that?
Well, I think he was wrong to say that, and we had a robust discussion about that, and I very much told him off for that because our PR, he's not an expert on Jack the Ripper, and he shouldn't have made that comment because I'm not an expert on Jack the Ripper either, but it's very obvious from the way that he mutilated his victims that there was certainly some degree of sexual intent there. So I really deeply apologise for the fact that that statement went out on our behalf. That was not correct, and it shouldn't have gone out. And I can understand why people were upset and angry by that.